us to see who can.
Hello. What are you looking at?
So, do you agree that that was Obama coming to Australia? Now, I've had some people from the United States saying to me that Obama's here to kick Kevin Rudd's ass because Australia is so racist, because of the Freddo Frog incident, because of the KFC incident, and he's coming here to sort us all out and teach us all this. That's what the Americans are saying.
No. I'm going to use a very...
You don't think I'm serious, do you?
I'm going to use a very British term here. It's a load of bollocks. Of course he's not. He wouldn't dare do that. Can you think of the incident? Can you think of the controversy that would cause? Can you think of the reaction of Australians and Americans? I think this trip is partly for Obama to get a few Australian ties, meet Australian politicians, get a feel for the place, because apparently Australia is one of America's closest allies. I think this is about a trip of unity rather than one of division, and if that's why he was here to kick Australia's ass, I think that would cause a lot of problems, and a lot of Aussies wouldn't like him, and it would backfire and be very counterproductive. So it's a load of bollocks, that theory. You need to keep that theory, because I'll show you where to put it.
I think it's a very patronising theory, and I really don't think Obama has even thought about this. The trip has something to do with the economy, America's economy and Australia's economy. It has to do with trade deals. There could be new trade deals between Australia and America. There is talk of new travel, opening up more travel, opening up more trade with Australia and America, possibly with sugar. They might be dropping tariffs for sugar because America has a shortage now because of ethanol, and with the last free trade agreement, sugar wasn't on free trade. They might be dropping that because America needs the ethanol, and we've got plenty of sugar in America. There's possibly more about what he's here about. It's economy, it's about the money, just like Iraq. It's about the oil, stupid. This is what Obama will be talking about, and also the possibility of Australia. There's rumours that Australia might be leaving Afghanistan. Of course he'll be talking about that. US doesn't want Australia to leave Afghanistan.
I think it's a cultural trip. I think it's a trip to talk about deals, business with Australia, a chance for Obama to get familiar with Australian politicians, the Australian way of life, the Australian political system. After all, Australia is supposed to be one of Australia's closest allies. Certainly got nothing about kicking ass. We are. And America doesn't want to kick Australia's ass. Obama certainly doesn't. It's not in his interest. It's not in Australia's interest. It's a trip about uniting people and getting closer and learning about Australia, and for an extent to learn about Obama.
Entered his mind?
I don't think it's entered his mind at all. And he wouldn't dare. It's not in anybody's interest. Think of the fuss and the controversy it would kick up. You know, it would be absolutely ridiculous and ludicrous. So that idea is bollocks. I don't think he knows about it at all. The people who come up with this are people who are mischievous, who like to stir, who like to create a bit of controversy, get people talking like we are, and a load of old nonsense. It's a cultural trip, it's a business trip, that's all it is. Certainly nothing about kicking Australia's ass. America, I think Obama's trying to get away with this imperialistic attitude that people have about America, and it wouldn't be in his interest. It would solve nothing. Actually, it would make the problems worse and would increase any division between our two great nations.
So, Colin's back. He's decided to stay in Australia.
Yes. I couldn't hail a cab to get out of here. It's rush hour.
So, I'm just going to do an experiment. Can you describe the President of America, Obama? Will you describe him?
Very handsome. He likes to come across as a people person. He likes to come across as a modernist who's there to move America forward.
3 or 4 words. Obama is the...
He is the leader. He's charismatic. He's intelligent. And he is motivational.
Interesting. Now, you describe Obama, the leader of America. How would you describe him?
Well, he doesn't need to build a city around him when he visits like Bush. So that's a good one. Yeah, I think he's charismatic, intelligent, you know, has a vision, and does want to get away from that thing of America and the president being the boogeyman of the world. So, there you go.
Yes, I think he's very similar. I said all along, before he was elected, remember we had this conversation whether Hillary Clinton would be leader, and I've always said that Obama would make it. He is like a JFK character, and the personifies a lot about the American dream. He is a very, very good spokesman, very intelligent and very smart. We've all passed the test, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
I have the theory that if we asked Americans this, they would come up with a completely different answer. In America, I bet you anything, they would not come up with that description.
What description do you think they'd come up with, Fletcher?
We see Obama, and I was just testing this right from the start, we see Obama as the American president. Would you agree with that?
Totally, absolutely, totally.
He is the American president. That's how you see him? Is that how you see Obama?
Well, I don't think you could see him as anything else.
If you ask that in America, they would see him as a black American president. Not one of you said the word black.
To be honest, it never entered my mind to see him as black. I don't want to be funny, but when I see a person, I see them as an individual. Their colour doesn't even.
We didn't discuss this before, did we?
No, we didn't. Their colour isn't even secondary to me. It's just part of who they are.
So I tested you, and you know, I mean, you had no idea what I was doing.
For me, his colour's irrelevant to how he does.
You didn't mention it.
Absolutely not.
What about you, Colin?
Just simply the elected president of America. It would, I guess you could say, if Donald, was it McCain? His opposition?
John McCain.
John McCain.
Yeah.
John McCain had been elected. Well, you wouldn't call him the old president. No.
Yeah.
Well, probably people would actually, but
you didn't even think of him as the black president. You didn't say it. You didn't think it.
No.
Whereas in America, they would say the black president. And the assumption that Obama would come to Australia to kick our butts because he's the black president. Now, what does that say about how they label a person? Who is racist?
I think that's a very
Isn't
good
that
question.
Interesting?
I think that's a very
You
good
didn't
question.
know that I was testing what that
I had
was.
absolutely no idea, and I certainly don't see him in terms of colour. I see him as the President of the United States. He's got a job to do, and hopefully will be a great ally to Australia, and also where I'm from, the United Kingdom too. That's what's important, not his colour.
So this was a test, and it's absolutely exactly how I expected. You didn't know that I was testing you, and you didn't even think of black.
Well, no, I wasn't thinking I'd to change the Star Spangled Banner to an Isaac Hayes track or anything like that. Definitely not. That was really not floating around with neurons.
So is it racist that we didn't think of it? You know?
I guess you could argue. I guess that's an open one. I think no, it's not racist. We were talking about a person who holds a elected title.
So does that mean we're anti-American? No, it just doesn't enter our minds. Yeah,
It's true. It's an absolute irrelevance.
interesting. Americans, what do you think? How do you see Obama? Okay, I've heard Antichrist. I've heard conspiracy theories. We won't mention Alex Jones. We weren't going to talk about. No, we're not. No. Yeah. Let us know. How do you describe Obama? And don't say the word communist either. I'll block you. Okay?
Communist. I said it.
I don't want anyone to mention fluoride in the water. That was in Dr. Strangelove. That's a very old one, that one. And remember,
if you're watching this, you are the resistance.
What are we talking about?
tell us what you think. God bless you. What's that? Can't trust a seat. Who can you trust?